Hello and welcome back to the Sunday special episode of the U Up Podcast. I'm Jordana Abraham.
And I am Jared Freed. It is so good to be back here with you, Jordana. Virtually, we're doing a virtual Sunday special. And we love the Sunday special. A bite-sized episode to get you through.
To let you behind the curtain, we are recording virtually. I mean, if you're watching on YouTube, you might notice that. Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you. Finally. Was waiting for you to to say that. Happy Mother's Day to you as well. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there that listen to this show. I've been on the road a lot lately, and you meet the listenership, and they come in all shapes and sizes, moms and single moms. And if you're out there,
divorcees,
we love you. Divorcees, married moms. Yeah, we get them listening with their husbands. I always appreciate when a couple listens together because they're probably communicating. I would assume.
Yeah, I think it's
this
great.
This is like a gateway drug to communication, right?
Oh, completely. I feel like you can weigh in on the scenarios together because sometimes you don't have the same answer, and it's a fun discussion, especially the red flag deal breakers, in my opinion.
Do you go back to Mike after an episode and you're like, what do you think of this? Or before we tape, when you have the rundown, do you get his view on it?
I used to do that when we first started dating. I would do that all the time with the outlines and stuff. Now Candace makes the outlines. I used to make the outlines. When I make the outlines, I would run it by him or share a fun email. We would talk about what we thought about it. Not as much anymore because I don't know. It's just a little, I don't know. I guess it's different now that I'm not making them. Yeah.
Well, I do think it's you when you were making them and you guys were dating. It's probably just a fast track to getting to know one another. Totally. In the beginning. Yeah. You said on your opening date you had the weird would you rather, right? What was the would you rather?
I think I had would you rather have sex with a 14-year-old or a 58-year-old on our first date?
What an opening for a first date.
That was one of my go-tos. I hated the standard well, what do you do, where are you from, whatever. I used to, and I think it's a little better.
What do you think of a 14-year-old? That's
I think it's less weird because I'm a woman. It's still weird, definitely weird. Not everyone would be into it, but I think if a man said it, it might come off a little creepier.
Did you have a judgment, a preconceived judgment of how someone I'm looking for them to say 58. I gotta say.
Well, that's what it's funny. That's exactly what he said. He's you obviously must say 58. Who would not say 58?
Right.
But then I remember we met up with my friend and some guy that she was dating, and we asked the question. He was 14, and she was like, "What?"
Right. This relationship is over. Yeah.
And then I was told to stop asking random people that question because it was getting them in trouble and making things weird.
Yeah, not a good double date question. Good first date question. Yeah. Maybe it doesn't work for both.
Maybe not. I also did the cousin one. Would you rather have sex with your cousin or not have sex with your cousin, but everyone thinks you had sex with your cousin?
I like that one probably better because it doesn't put the person into legal jeopardy, I guess.
Slightly less, more legal.
That's a tough one too. That's
a mind game. It's you have sex with your cousin, no one knows, or you don't have sex with your cousin. Well, you and the cousin know,
and
that's
you know,
right? Or you don't, but everyone thinks you do. You did, which is it's kind of that also tells you a little bit about a person.
Well, other than these Squid Games you're putting people through, how are you generally on this Mother's Day? You're doing a podcast about, having children.
Mm-hmm.
How does Mother's Day, and this is a little you up with benefits. This is a topic we get into in the benefits. Do you feel, is there any feeling? Is there a vibe?
I mean,
Is it?
I don't know. I mean, we're recording ahead of time, so it's not actually Mother's Day.
Right.
But last year on Mother's Day, I had a tough day. I was on vacation, so that was nice. But it's definitely a tough day to be on like Instagram. So I tried to stay off, which was good, I think. Last year I was like hot off my second miscarriage, and that was feeling like I was feeling like kind of depressed about that in general. And then I think Mother's Day felt like a like pile on of that. This year I think I have like a more positive outlook in general about the whole thing. I feel like I'm taking it a little more casually, and I'm like, I've talked about this on benefits also. I feel like I'm a little bit more like okay with everything. Like I feel like I mean it hasn't happened yet, but I think I'll be better.
What do you think of those posts that like tend to the people that would hate Mother's Day? Like you know what I mean? Like you're saying that like it was a hard day last year. And then there's always these people that post on social media like, to those who hate their mother, I see you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it goes more serious than that. There's, people that, post something for the people going through miscarriages and things like that. Like,
right. Or whose mothers have died. Like I've seen that.
Mothers have passed.
Yeah.
Do you feel seen by those? I always see those and I'm like, I don't, it's like, I'm always like, it's nice, but I'm always like, I'm like, I don't know. It always feels like such I'm like, we're partying here, you know what I mean? Like, and you go, oh yeah, I guess there are people going through it. I guess I never thought of it that way, but
I think it's nice. I feel like a little more seen, I think, by those. But I generally just like, again, like if I know that a day or something's gonna like trigger me a little bit, I try to just stay away. I just think that's the easier thing to do than like.
I guess those posts are great. It's the comment under a Happy Mother's Day post that says, "What about the people with no mother?"
Right.
Those are the dickheads. That's a different story.
I don't think anyone needs to do that. Yeah, I don't think anyone needs to do that at all. Like, I don't think it's like, well, how come you're not acknowledging us? I think it's more like, if you do see it, and it's a night, and it's like and it's well written, and it's nice, and it's like an acknowledge. Sometimes it's nice to feel seen on occasion. Yeah, Yeah.
I'm with you. I always, anytime I see something where I go, oh, what's that? I start with, you don't want to start with like, well, fuck them. You want to start at like, how do people feel about that? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I hear you. I think it's different. The post of it is different than the reaction to a nice post with, it's like,
right.
It's like when you write like happy tree day and then someone comments like, a tree fell on my uncle. How could you?
No, totally.
Like, oh, okay.
I mean, I'm personally of the, it's why I don't think it's necessary, or I don't think it's like must have a disclaimer, or I don't really believe in like trigger warnings, to be totally honest. It's just not really my thing. I do think like we're all responsible for our own triggers. Like it's not the world's job to go around making sure that we don't feel like upset or connected to something. I don't believe like in everyone tiptoeing around someone's. I think it's like it's my job to like process my own shit and avoid things that don't make me feel good. I don't think it's everyone else's job to like make sure that I feel good.
I feel the same way as you. I feel very much the same. Yeah.
But it's not. But it is nice occasion. Again, like that's why I'm like, where is the post recognizing people like me? It's more like if it is done, it does feel nice if I see it. I don't like. I think it's nice. Yeah.
I like that. I'm gonna do a post that, as a not mother, join me to those living in a studio apartment.
To all the plant dads out there.
Right. So, to all the dads of Kimosabe hats, I see you.
What is your hat? What did your hat make for you this year?
Right. It made me whole. Made me, I've never felt so.
You never felt a love like this.
Right. That's me and my chemos. I've gotten a lot of Kimosabe hat support, which has been nice. A lot of
I think people are happy for you. This is
I think they are.
This is your engagement.
This is, I think, it is funny. It's nice to have a female audience because, a majority female audience, because when you make stupid purchases, I think they all kind of like see eye to eye with a purchase that maybe you didn't need that has improved your being. I don't think guys will acknowledge that as much.
Right. Probably, yeah, probably not. We women are excited for you. We're in the boat with you.
I appreciate it. So, before we get into it, I'm on the road. If you're listening, I just got done. If you're listening right now, I've just gotten done with like a whole run. Thank you to everyone who came out. San Francisco, Jordana, the people of San Francisco.
My brother
love
was
you.
there.
Your brother came. He brought a friend. It was great to see him. I just love that town. The town was just awesome.
People like me in San Francisco, huh?
People are looking for you. They're looking for us. They want you up live. I was like, we got to make it happen because
we got to make it happen.
It is a fun town. I said all these nice things about San Francisco. Talk about being seen. They felt
seen, right?
They felt seen. They really, because I guess like it's just really easy to like take a picture of a homeless person and be like, look what's going on in hippy dippy San Francisco. And I guess a lot of people do that. And I chose a different path of like, here's the 15,000 calories I'm eating and how
you made it look beautiful. I thought you were in Europe.
It's a European city. Your brother said that.
Yeah.
It is a very European city. It is, to me, it's New York City on a mountain. Like it looks like New York City. It has the same grit and look to it. But
you can go for like a hike, or like.
I got in an Uber and the guy driving was like the nicest guy, and he's like, we're talking, and he said it best. He ended up being a friend of Robin Williams. He was like, he goes, what do you do? I'm like, I'm a comedian. He goes, I was friends with Robin Williams. I was like, that's crazy.
He says like to every comedian he meets.
Right, I guess.
Yeah.
And then he goes,
you guys all know each other, right? It's like saying I'm from London. Do you know the Queen?
Oh, my buddy Robin. And I got him tickets to the show on Saturday night, but he said during the car ride, he's like, drive an hour in any direction and you're in paradise. And he's totally right. Like that's, San Francisco has everything at its fingertips. So I just, the shows were fabulous. And if you came out in Pittsburgh, Columbus, and LA, I'm sure those were good too. But I got more. This never ends. New Orleans, if you're out there, we need some New Orleans people. Please. Dallas, please. Nashville. I'm coming out to the Hamptons.
Ooh.
Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Did you book your hotel yet?
There's another day.
I ask you every week.
I haven't. Someone offered me. Oh, we talked about this. They offered me their room.
They have a cage in their basement.
Right. Hey, I got an old house with a cage in the basement. Would you like to?
Did you ever see the movie Misery?
No, I know what it's about with Kathy Bates. I know the premise that
James Caan.
James Caan like hurts himself skiing, and she takes him in, and then just like captures him. She's
basically like a super fan of. He's a writer. He's an author.
Right.
It's before they had podcasts, I think.
Like me. He's
an author. I think he gets into like a car crash right by her house, and she like takes him in, and she's like a super fan, and then she's like sort of in love with him, goes crazy. Anyway, I don't know why it made me think of that. Anyway, don't stay with a random listener.
If you're obsessed with me, reach out. You can trap me in your basement. Yeah. I'll be in the Borgata in Atlantic City, then Newark, and I'm coming to Cleveland. So get your tickets, jaredfree.com. The show's been fun. I think it's time for me to switch material soon. So
get it while it's hot.
Get those tickets. You might see a dud as opposed to the set that I like doing. That it's just time to change up. What are we talking about today? We have some good emails. I really like these emails today.
Great emails. All right. Let's just get right into it. I'll start. We're starting with the Pettier Prudent, our favorite.
Love it.
All right. Dear Jordana and Jared, First, I want to say that I absolutely love the show. It's such a fun listen. I'm always recommending it to my friends. I have a Pettier Prudent situation for you that I'm very curious to hear your take on. My husband and I have been together for just about 9 years. And before that, he had dated a girl on and off for about 4 years. They're in the same friend group from high school, so they see one another sometimes in group settings, weddings, reunions. But on occasion, she will also reach out to him individually. For example, she's written him letters and texted him when she's in town for work and asks to get together. He never replies to her letters, but they do get together when she's in town.
Letters? What year is this? Jordana, is that crazy to you?
She's written him emails. I would understand. She's written him like handwritten letters. Maybe she meant emails. A letter is insane. Email,
a letter's insane, and email's like, I'm with you. Like that's the line between letter and email is just very.
A letter is like
thick.
stalker these days. Like if you're writing a handwritten note to someone, you better be having sex.
Because you better be coming.
You're getting a stamp? You're like getting a stamp out? That's crazy.
Also, you're writing it online. You're writing it on your computer and then rewriting it in pen because you don't want to miss the spellings.
Yeah.
Like there's a process to writing a letter these days. It's not just like, oh, let me just take out my quill and get moving. You know, like it is a process. Stamp, as you said, but also like I remember my brother had to write letters to his wife and her family during the wedding week. It was all these letters, right? I didn't realize
those are handwritten cards.
Yeah, and I was like, this is brutal. But half the day was spent transcribing from online where you have spell check.
Right.
Because you're like, I don't want to misspell restaurant. You know, like, I don't want to look like an idiot
forever.
to our parents.
Yeah.
Right. So, and then sometimes you write too close to the right side of the page, so you got to like redo it. Because
put the arrow to where you're going.
Yeah. This woman's, if she's writing letters, she might be the one from
Misery.
The Kathy Bates movie, Misery.
All right. So for example, she's written him letters and texted him when she's in town for work and asked to get together. He never replies to her letters, but they do get together when she's in town. He and I even had lunch with her.
Hey, sorry I didn't get back to your 3-page letter. Let's get drinks instead.
The best thing about someone writing you a letter is you could pretend you didn't get it. Whereas an email is like pretty cut and dry.
Or that you're like, oh, I was going to write you back, but I didn't have stationery. So
right. Sorry. I feel like she meant emails. I'm just guessing, but maybe she didn't. Who knows?
Well, if it is funny that if it's letters, the ex from high school is crazy. If it's emails, the emailer is crazy for not calling it emails.
Right. Call it what. Right? Let us know.
Right.
We need to know.
If you called it a letter and it's actually an email, you're either trying to get us to agree with you, or you're out of your fucking mind.
I feel like she would have stressed something about how weird it was that it was a letter if it was really a letter.
Yeah, the fact that she just says letter without it being acknowledged is absolutely wild to me. Yeah, okay. I'm sorry to be caught up on this. I'm just like...
No, it's fair. It's a fair distinction. He and I even had lunch with her when we visited New York City, where she lives. It's unusual, I know, but I don't want to cause a rift in the friend group.
Minus the letters, I don't think any of this is that unusual.
Agreed.
You're friends from high school. You share the same friend group. If she's just keeping in touch every now and again, and then she went to lunch with them as a throuple, so to speak, then like
not that weird. Yeah,
I've heard of such things, so that's okay.
Right. It sounds like again they're like. They date. It sounds like that she doesn't say how old they are, but it sounds like if she's been with the husband 9 years and the husband was with this person for 4 years, it probably was a high school relationship. She doesn't say that exactly. But
friend group from high school.
Unless she's like 60. I don't know.
I dated Elaine.
Over time, she started reaching out more and even mailed him a film photo that she had developed herself that she took back when they were dating, saying that she's getting back into film and developed that photo as practice. This is more evidence towards a letter.
Right.
Because she's saying she's mailing him film.
Right. She's living her best Bushwick hipster lifestyle. Yeah.
She's using the post office.
Yes.
Recently, we found out that she wrote and is producing a short film that is about their relationship and the ups and downs of young love. They met in high school. I called her to confront her about this, explaining that I'd been patient and understanding of all the other things, but that this was a bit too far. She claims it's not about him, but just love in general, despite the fact that it takes place where they grew up and there is a recreation of a photo of him in the film. I feel like it's
not about your David. The lead's name is Mavid. Like, what? It's not about him. It's just about young love and two people who dated in high school who, she sends him letters.
I could believe that, actually, though.
Well,
it's based on her experience, but it's not like all about him.
But she has to admit, like, my experience is him. Like,
Sure, yeah.
I think there's like a middle ground here where it's like, listen, I'm in Brooklyn and I'm writing this piece, and the only thing I have to like go by is my high school relationship, which happens to be your guy. But but go on. I'm sorry. Yeah, I could see. Okay.
I feel like it's important that I mention that she went to school for theater. She lives in New York City pursuing her dream job of being an indie filmmaker. So it's not completely random for her to make a film just to give her some benefit of the doubt. Not only is it not completely random, it's her job. It sounds
right.
Like.
And so it's like, for her to write this movie, she should be both sides have to be more understanding. Like, this woman, like, what else is she going to fucking write about? And then the other woman has to go, what else would I write about?
But also, like, even if it is about him, like, I mean, let me finish the email, then we'll fully delve. Okay. During this call, I mentioned that I saw there will be a screening in Brooklyn when the film is complete, and I told her that I would like tickets for the, what is she, me? I would like tickets for the event when the date is set.
I'll take 20 tickets, please.
She's like on this. I can't imagine. She's like on this phone yelling at her, and then like, and I want free tickets.
Well, I'll be the judge of whether this is about my husband or not.
Yes.
Front row, staring right at you.
Now my question for you is, should I go? Is it petty or is it prudent? My husband says I shouldn't go, but all my friends say I should and want to join. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Thanks, Brooklyn bound Betch.
I just imagine her and her friends like they're at the Sex and the City premiere. Like, her friends are like, you should definitely go. We want to come. Like, her friends are assholes.
Oh,
like,
that's what I would definitely say that. That was exactly what I would say. I'd be like, yes, let's go. We'll make a night of it. It'll be like,
right, drinking mimosas and in pink high heels sitting in the front, ready to like, yell at the TV as it's happening. Like,
totally.
Her chickadee friends.
This all sounds amazing. I would definitely suggest that if this was my friend.
I can't believe she's like, Pettier or Prudent, should I go? She's already like down the river, don't you think?
Yeah, the Pettier or Prudent, I feel like came like before, like when she called the person to tell her, like to like confront her about making this. That's the Pettier or Prudent.
Right. I totally agree. Like the idea, like you're going, you have to go. You asked for tickets.
And after you made a whole scene.
Right.
Basically. Yeah.
Right. You got angry, then said, okay, let me see this thing. And now you're like, should I go see it? Yeah.
Right.
What do you think?
I'm trying to think, like, because I'm trying to think if it matters that she's still in contact with him. Like, if she, let's say they hadn't spoken since high school and she finds out this movie is being made about this woman's relationship, like, is that petty or prudent? I don't think. I think that's totally fine. Right.
Well, by who?
I think it's totally fine of the ex-girlfriend to make the film about her, about young love or whatever, putting her own relationship experience into it.
Right. I think it's funny that there's like 17 different petty or prudence within this one email.
Yeah, totally.
Right. From both sides. Like, I agree with you.
Is she petty for calling her out on the movie? Like, I think maybe a little bit.
None of this is prudent. Do you know what I mean? Like, none of this is like necessary.
It's all petty.
But it might not be petty. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like no one needs anyone to make a movie about young love. Like, no one is better off.
But that's her job. That's like saying no one needs a podcast.
That's her aspiration.
No one needs a podcast where you talk about your previous relationships. That's what we do.
Right.
Right? No one needs that. It's our job.
I agree with you that if she had not been in touch with this guy over the years and written love letters, seemingly, that this being made and then her getting mad about getting made would be petty.
Right. But because she's like still in his life and kind of like is continuously trying to contact him, I think that's maybe the weirder part than the movie.
Right. Well, then I'd be totally curious as how the movie ends. Is it her staring out a window, watching a guy with his wife happily married while she's sad that she's not with him? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I don't. What is the moral of the tale? Is it like I'm happier now because I had this love and I get to fucking Bushwick, after some PBRs? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know.
I mean, to me, it sounds like she's like a little threatened by this woman to an extent.
Absolutely. If
she wasn't, she wouldn't care that she was making this movie. She'd be like, again, she'd be with her friends. She'd be like, this is great. Like,
right,
I'm entertained by this. Yeah.
Well, yeah, she would be able to laugh at her husband. Like, if I'm the husband, I'm a little bit annoyed. I'm like, damn it. Like, we were in high school. I said, all of my high school loser things I did for love are going to be like outed. Like, those are things I'd rather forget as, but I also think, there's another angle of like, I don't know. She doesn't have to be threatened, but it is annoying to have someone like keep bringing this up.
Well, it's annoying to have someone who's like, I think it's annoying just generally taking out all the details to have your husband's ex constantly in contact with him, like seemingly maybe a little bit more than seems appropriate. With letter sending and having like asking to meet up whenever they're in town. Like, what I think it's okay, maybe like once every couple of years you meet up with someone. This sounds a lot more frequent than that.
Well, also it's okay to be like, we're in the same friend group from high school, reunions, weddings.
We see each other at all these things and it's pleasant and
we're totally
it's nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
Like that to me makes sense. It's also makes sense to be like at a wedding weekend and be like, hey, let's get coffee while, we're all here. Like,
right. The letters feel weird.
The letters are weird. I mean, making the movie is like so secondary to the other stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Like the movie, I'm kind of like, this is what you do for a living. You use your personal experience and like your art, so to say.
Right.
Like to me, that's not. And it's also like the husband. Again, if she feels like the husband is totally over it, which it sounds like he is, he's like, I don't know why you need to go to this. He doesn't answer the letters.
Should she go? I mean, some of it is like, how far away is she from the screening? Like, is she making a weekend to go to New York to go to this screening? Like,
I think she should go if she can like laugh at like if she feels like chill about it.
Right. Which doesn't sound like she will, but I going doesn't make her petty. It makes her curious. And I also don't think it's prudent. Do you know what I mean? Like to stay in the game, like her going. I don't think it's petty to go. And I guess if I was like,
not petty or prudent.
Right. What brings you here? Well, I'm the wife of the guy she's fawning over in the movie. Like, I don't know.
It could not even really be that intensely about him. Like, the thing is, she wouldn't really know. He would know. Like, he'd really have to see the movie to say like, oh, that's kind of like what it was like when we did. I want to see this movie. Can we find out where it's playing? I would like to go see it.
I want to go see it.
Right.
Well, I'm with you. I would go to that like in half a second. But I also think that this person who she's writing in about is going to hear this. Like, I actually thought about it.
It's very specific.
It's very specific. Like, someone's going to... And we've had less specific emails get back to the people who were written about.
Okay, well, if you are listening, and this is you, and you made this movie, I would love to hear your side of the story.
Yes.
Maybe it's wildly different. Maybe he's answering a lot more than we know. Anyway, email
Write us a
UUP.
letter. Here's our address.
Write us a letter. Send us pictures.
Send a letter to Betches. Yeah, email uup@betches.com. What do you think, Petty or Prudent, going to the event?
I think because she told her that she asked for the tickets. I think it's weird to not go at that point. She said she wanted to go.
Right.
I think I would go. I would go, but I would be like, I feel like if I would go and I was with my husband for 9 years, I would go as like a fun thing, not like as a investigatory thing.
Yeah, you can't go while holding his hand tightly, through the whole thing. You got to have fun with it. You got to have fun.
Exactly.
I would make it into a double date, triple date. I think bringing the friends will make it more fun for them to giggle and make fun of your husband with you. I think that'd be fun.
Yes. Yeah. Please send us the details.
Please.
Everyone's like, come to my wedding. No one's like, come to my indie film where I write about my ex and his current wife knows.
All right, let's do an email. uup@betches.com. Keep sending them in. This one was a good one. I again, 2 great emails. You ready?
Yeah.
They write, thanks for all the advice and laughs over the year on my dilemma. I've noticed a trend over the last year or so where men around my age who I go on dates with are increasingly homebodies and seem to have, quote unquote, given up on pursuing novel, exciting experiences. I'm a 35-year-old woman living in a major non-coastal city. I'm pretty active and have lots of interests. Love to try new bars and restaurants, travel, go to events, and work remotely from different locations a couple weeks a year. I recognize I'm in a unique and fortunate position financially and professionally, allowing me to do all of this. I'm proud of the fun, interesting life I've built and would love to share it with a partner. Most men I meet on the apps in their early 30s and 40s don't seem to match this energy. So many of them talk about how they love to stay home and don't seem to be interested in activities or experiences outside of their typical routine. A lot of them are really into their dogs and counting down until they can move into the suburbs. In addition to the current incompatibilities, it also feels like they're looking for a more traditional future than I want. I do want to get married and I'm open to having kids, but admittedly seeing some of my friends forgo so many of their interests and careers for a more traditional version of being a wife and a mother has made me more and more turned off by men who lead with this perspective. The homebody attitude seems much less common with men I've met in real life, who, interestingly enough, almost never fall into the age range I have set in the apps. I mainly get approached by men in their late 20s and men in their late 40s, early 50s, perhaps a phenomenon for a different email, who seems to have the gusto for life that's missing from so many of my app encounters. However, I recognize their perspectives also may change as the younger ones get older and the older ones get, old. My question: do I need to adjust my expectations, or are these just cases of not the match? Or as Jared says, are the apps really just made for nerds and I am not in fact a nerd and need to lean into IRL summer? 2, should these incompatibilities be a deal breaker? Would an otherwise mentally, emotionally compatible guy be enthusiastic about more of these things if prompted by a partner? What are your thoughts on why men at the more extreme ends of the age ranges seem to share more of my interests? Is it worth widening my age range in the apps, or do the cons outweigh the pros? There. Thanks for all you do. A boredom-averse betch. What do you think, Jordana?
To me, this is like kind of an obvious answer. It's like, why are the people who are using the apps to date more likely to not want to go out? Like, right. Because those people are on the apps to date.
Right.
Like, the people who are out are not on the apps. They're out.
Right. Why are the people that I talk to face-to-face and in person agreeing with everything I say? Why? Yeah. Well, the people on the apps disagree with me because, it's a little more, it's way more comfortable to disagree with you over an app and tell you you're a homebody and be as completely honest as possible. And in person, you live in the land of, she's like, oh my God, everyone out she's concentrating on their ages, but it's like, these men in my, that agree with me happen to be older. It's like, well, they're also in real life. You're meeting them, like, right, and they're out, so that they're like, it's like they like to be out. How do you know? Because you met them out. Right, right. So they are more your type. Yeah. You are someone who wants to leave the house. I also have another, kind of like my first thought about this was that apps and like just encourage laziness, like
right.
And that's a big part of this that she doesn't really get into is like, and I make a big thing about how like apps were invented by nerds to help nerds get out of the house and meet women without chance of getting turned down. And I believe in that. And I say the word nerds to, as a blanket word, but it really is what I mean by that is that a dating app, when you swipe left and you say no, you say no. When you swipe right, you either get a match right away or you get nothing. And when you get nothing, you go, I guess they haven't seen me yet. You never really feel turned down on an app. So when I say nerds, I mean people. They were created by men who didn't want to get turned down in real life and maybe didn't have the social capabilities to go out and take that type of pain. Okay.
Right.
I also believe in turn that has helped people become more lazy who may not need the apps. So the sociable person who uses the app still, those people exist too. I am one of those people in my past who have used apps I probably didn't need to. Puts them in a position to go, I'm going to be a lazier version than myself. And so when you're out, of course you live in the land of dreams and possibilities and, oh yeah, I love to hike and I would love to do these other things. And then when you're sitting on your couch swiping, you can tell people, you can say, this is what the menu is. You either come in or you don't to my restaurant,
Right. Yeah.
A lot of her like things are like, what do they call it? It's like causalities, like.
Right. What came first? The chicken or the egg? Yeah.
A lot of the things she mentions is in that group of like, and it's just like you're saying, like if they're on the dating app, they are less likely.
Right. Because that's how they're choosing to date.
Vivacious, risk-taking person. It is less risk to be on a dating app in the first place. The whole thing is to take away risk.
Totally. But my thought is like, if she's someone who loves going out, she's so many social activities, why don't you meet people there? Like,
also take away the crutch. She should, I haven't been on dating apps since the summer. I think that inherently forces you
to go out
and to not look at your phone while you're out. The craziest thing that I've ever done is look at a dating app while in a bar full of women.
Right. I'm sure many people do that all the time. Yeah.
Right. And I'm saying it for me. I will be the weirdo who's admitting something that I'm embarrassed about. That's embarrassing that I'm admitting. But I'm not that different than our listeners. So opening up a dating app while in a bar, that is you literally like taking the Viagra while being able to get hard. It's crazy.
I had one more thought on this also.
Please.
And you tell me if this is potentially an accurate thought. Is it possible that the men on the apps think that women want to hear that they don't like going out and they're not these like party guys, that they like, that they want to settle down and look for a house in the suburbs and have kids in that traditional lifestyle? Like, isn't that what men think women want to hear? A lot of the time.
Yeah, that's yeah. I could understand that. I also like
are men say, like men wouldn't, I assume a man wouldn't be like, yeah, I love to go out to clubs and hook up with anyone around. Right.
Those are my hobbies. I
not looking to settle down anytime soon. Like that's kind of like what she's like. Maybe it sounds like she is sort of looking for that. She's saying I don't like my friends having these traditional lifestyles has maybe turned off to the whole thing. So I'm saying, like, is she asking for someone who's looking for like something casual?
No, I didn't take it that way. I actually thought the paragraph about her friends was like showed me something that's really like she needs to get over. Like she should, she's cast a judgment on her friends, putting away their interests to go to the suburbs as if they were like captured by these men and put on the Handmaid's Tale. Like,
right.
They're all adults. They made their own fucking decisions. They're happier than you think they are. You know, like if they were so unhappy, they wouldn't do what they're doing. I don't think people act in a way that's so far away from what they would want. You know, but I do think I don't think she's looking for casual. I think she's looking for someone who matches like the active lifestyle she's looking for. And she's also looking for like a non-traditional lifestyle. She says she travels for a couple weeks to work in another city. Like that's a very different thing to take 2 weeks of your life and go to a city just to see what it's like to work there. Like good for her. I appreciate that. I just think the apps aren't for her. Like I think that's okay.
Right. And I think that's like, I'm kind of like, what are you getting from the apps? Like, why is it about changing the age range and doing all these things? Like, go out and meet people doing what you love to do.
Right.
Seems like the apps are great if you like really, I think the apps are for these people. Like, I makes not so much sense that they're on them. Like, if you're the kind of person that likes to kind of like come home, doesn't like to go out much, likes to like watch TV or spend time at home, the apps are great, but you still want to date, the apps are great for you. That's kind of like why they were made. Or if you're like a mom with some kids, you don't have time to be like going out to the bars or even like doing a lot of activities, but you want to meet someone, the apps are great. Like for someone like her, I agree with your first sentiment. Like what is she getting out of them?
I guess if she's going to other cities for 2 weeks and she doesn't know very many people, she's looking for ways. And you get less meetings. When you go out in real life, you know, it's analog versus digital. You know, you get
maybe that's
slower,
good.
Which is
better.
Fewer, better, more quality. I would say I have a strategy that's like outside of the box for her.
Let's hear it.
Like I think, and I think
bring back your stupid ideas. Remember?
What's that?
You used to come up with these like, you know, someone had an issue and then you come be like, here's my stupid idea. Is it?
Here's
like,
my stupid. Well, yeah. This is like that. Here's my stupid idea.
Not that your idea was stupid.
Right.
I'm just that's how you phrased it like that.
I am not offended. They're all stupid ideas. My stupid idea is like if she wants to like use the apps, maybe like listen, the apps are the home of laziness. It encourages laziness. Men are not really thinking of dating in the same way as you. They are not really motivated. And also, here's another thing. When you agree that you think I'm hot, men think you want, like a dating app, the premise is we agree starting that we're attracted to each other.
Right.
That's the match. Now, women take that a different way than a lot of men take that. When a guy thinks a woman wants to fuck him, he thinks you want to fuck us forever. There's no like, that's why the ick like didn't dawn on men, and a lot of men get offended by it because they can't understand the idea of like one thing making you go, what? I wouldn't fuck him anymore for the rest of my life. So this is why a lot of men act lazily on the apps, is because you've already started at, oh, she'll fuck me. That might not be true, but that's how he's taking a match.
Okay.
So here's to like kind of like zhuzh this up for her. If you want to use an app, what I would do is only use it on a certain 2-hour allotment earlier in the day that you want to go on a date that night.
That's fun.
So it's fun. So you go, okay, I'm only going to use it from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And I'm going to be hunting for the best possible date for that night and already know where you're going. Maybe you're going with friends. Maybe you and a couple friends are like, we're going to this bar that's fun and lively, has people around, because then it's like, then you're not really moving too fast into a private place with someone you don't really get to know a lot. And I know that some people would be like, well, you never get to know anyone on a dating app. Well, you do get to know some people more than others, and you can look them up and all that stuff. But I'm saying from 11 to 1, you go, okay, my plan is to be at, Wilfie and Nell tonight at 7 o'clock, and I'm going to invite Wilfie and Nell's a bar in New York for those out of the city. I'm going to be at Wilfie and Nell out at 7 o'clock tonight, and I'm going to invite the best suitor that I find from 11 to 1. And then that's it. And they either come that night or not. If they don't, you didn't miss out on anything. They were never going to come out. If they're not going to come, because I just
you'll meet the people who are at Wilfie and Nell.
Right. But guy who who thinks woman wants to fuck him, who won't go out that night, doesn't really want to fuck you. So now you've like kind of taken away the laziness that happens over the course of a week and the build up, and you've made a fun night for yourself with someone who's willing to like do something a little bit outside of the norm. That would be my suggestion.
Yeah, I like that. All right, give it a try. Let us know how it goes. And
we solved dating again.
We did it. That's it for us. We'll be back on Wednesday.
Boom.
Bye. The You Up podcast is produced by Candace Maniga and Shannon Sassone. Editing by Jorge Morales-Pico and Shannon Sassone. Social media by Candace Maniga. Be sure to follow at u.up.podcast on Instagram and send us your emails to uup@betches.com.